Hello everyone. I'm just about to get started here. I'll just wait for a couple of setup things here and we should be ready to get going. Okay, so hello A380 pilot, welcome. Hello, Hell Diving Kerbal. I'm doing an ad hoc stream here. I'm doing good, thank you. Appreciate it. Been working all day on a new patch, trying to fix some reported issues and some things that has been going on. And there's been quite a lot of new users and new players in reentry. So now I'm just trying to capture everything and then building out those patches. Been a lot of fun. But then I saw quite a lot of questions about the Periscope, and there's a campaign mission where you need to use this. So I decided that okay, let's go ahead and perform a little live stream, and then we can talk a little bit at the same time. So. And welcome everyone new. We are soon about to get started. Okay, so yeah, there we go. I think I've got everything up and running here. My microphone. Right, I reduced the voice of the volume a little bit on the mic. So please let me know if the comms are okay. And today we are going to go through the optics and session. So what we're going to be talking about is basically this periscope that you can see in front of me here. So the periscope is a backup device and a scope that you can use to have a observation of Earth. So you can use it to observe Earth, but it also comes with quite a lot of different markings and different tools, so you can use it as a backup device. In addition, we have the window, and the window comes with quite a lot of markings on it that you can also use for attitude control. So we'll kind of go through some of those things as well. And then we'll try to use the optics a little bit to just kind of showcase how that one works. Your audio is not working. Let's see if I can get audio working. So, okay. Then let's continue and let me know if it doesn't. Okay, let's continue. So yeah, the optics, it's being used to, let me just verify the audio so I don't so I don't talk. So everyone else, can you hear me okay? All right. Then I think that it should probably work. All right, then let's proceed, and hopefully you will be able to get the audio working A380. So yeah, let's go ahead. The optics and navigation is something that is described in the game manual. So if you go into the Project Mercury familiarization manual, you will be able to see a section of re-entry flight manual that comes with the game. Also covers the use of the optics, but there's no academy lesson on that yet. So I decided to just kind of go through some of these things here, and then we'll try to host some Ask Me Anything. So at the end of this session, let's go through some questions, and we can talk a little bit about some of the things that has been happening over the few days. So yeah, let's get going. So first of all, the optics is located in the Mercury capsule in kind of the center area, and it looks like this. So every time someone talks about the periscope, this is the device that we're talking about. And the periscope is fully mechanical, so you don't need to have any power on board to be able to kind of view through it and use it as a device for navigation. And if we take a look at my control modes here, so we're in fly-by-wire, and I'm going to maneuver a little bit, so push it up and push it down. You can see kind of how Earth moves in the optics. So the primary use of the optics is to figure out that you are in retrograde attitude. So right now you can see that I'm aligning this marker with the periscope here, and you can see that there's a couple of other markings here. Since the altitude above Earth changes throughout your orbit, these markings won't perfectly align every time. But remember, the scope isn't going to be used to get an accuracy of 0.1 degrees. It's used as a verification tool, and also as a tool to reach a good enough retrograde attitude if you so require. So if we take a look out the window, you can see that I'm now moving. So the Earth is kind of moving from the bottom to the top of this window. And the same applies to the scope. So if you use this magnitude knob here, you can zoom in on Earth. And you can see that we are now traveling so that the ground movement kind of moves upwards from the bottom to the top of the scope. This means that you are going in a retrograde direction. If you align this marking here with the horizon, then you know that you are in a retrograde attitude relative to the engine. So if I now go to the external view here, you can see that I'm now in that retrograde attitude where the engines are pointing slightly up. So this is a pitch of minus 34 degrees. So this markings means that if you align the horizon of Earth with this marking, you'll be at pitch minus 34. Obviously, this is only an indication, because right now, if we zoom in on the magnitude, you can see the mountains below here, and we are actually having a yaw, because you can see that the ground isn't moving from the bottom and directly up. We have it's kind of moving up, but sideways as well. So in order to figure out what's going on here, we can use this drift knob here, and we can rotate this with the ground track and try to get it to move perfectly along the line. And if it does this and you can get a straight line, you know that you have a yaw offset, and you can see the offset amount, and this is an indication, of course. You can see that it's not perfect, and it doesn't need to be 100% accurate either. So now you know that you have a yaw. So now I can try to yaw the craft, and we can see if we can then align that one up. So for this to make a little bit more sense, let me also get into the daylight side here, and then I'll talk about night side operations later as well. So here we go. And you can see that I have this offset. We're getting somewhere close. And then if I now maneuver more like this, you can see that it gets worse. And this is also shown here that I actually have is it 30 degrees offset on yaw. So now I'm going to kind of maneuver back, and you can see as we get towards 0 here, this ground track is all to be better and better. So now I'm going to reset this to 0, and now I'm going to try and make so the ground track goes perfectly with that thing. So let's correct roll initially. Here we go. And then yaw to 0. And then just to kind of show the concept first. Now you can see that the ground track goes in a straight line upwards. If I, in addition, go into this zoomed out view, you can see that the marker is now on the top of Earth. So this means that we are now in retrograde attitude. If I would now apply roll, let's pretend that we have a roll offset like this. Then you can see from this periscope here that the Earth isn't centered. So if you want to kind of zero out roll, you can try to just maneuver and kind of see how Earth behaves in the scope. And then you can go ahead and try to center Earth in the scope. And the easiest way to do this is not in the retrograde attitude, it's actually in a level attitude. So if we now center Earth in the scope, so you can see that the Earth is now kind of in the middle of the entire scope. Then if we apply a roll, you can see that the entire Earth moves sideways. So if we would be needing to correct an attitude, this would be the right way to correct roll. If I now apply yaw to this and I correct roll, you can see that I'm still able to center Earth here. But if I zoom in, you can see that the ground track is going in the wrong direction. So to correct that, you can go ahead and try to fix that ground track direction first. So it becomes perfect. Now it goes kind of up in a straight line. A little bit more. And then we can zoom out and we can see that, oh, okay, but we're going in a straight line, but Earth isn't centered. So let's go ahead and try and center Earth like that. And then we zoom in again and we can iterate. And it seems to be quite good. So if I can now yaw slightly more, and then we can reset this one, correct roll. And at this point, it feels like I am having a pretty good attitude. So let's verify that. And now you can see that roll is actually 0 and yaw is close to 0. And pitch is level, but that's fine. This is a small thing. So the attitude on the scope, if you're going retrograde, can then be used to get into a retrograde attitude. So now I know that I was in a level view, and I know that roll was okay and yaw was okay. This means that if I now align this marker with the horizon, I know that I'm in a perfect retrograde attitude, and I can be safe to fire up those engines and return home. So if you have an electrical failure or this indicator fails, the gyros fails for some reason, you can use this method to get into any attitude, so the retrograde attitude. And if you want to have a level attitude, then you center Earth. This is also the optics attitude. This is when the optics are pointing directly down on Earth. So if I now go in here, you can see that the Earth horizon is kind of level or parallel with the side of the capsule. So the optics is looking 90 degrees directly down on Earth. That's the optics attitude of the spacecraft. And then you have the level attitude. If you're in retrograde direction, you can align the horizon with this top mark here. and you should be on level attitude. You can see that 0 marker on the window is visible here. So now we are at 0. So yeah, the final thing that I just want to quickly mention, and then we'll go into some of the questions and I'll go through, is that in this view here, you have 0 line. So you can align the horizon with this 0 mark using this view to be level. If you want to reach the optics attitude, then align this mark with the horizon. And if you want to have retrograde attitude, using the windows only, if let's say that the scope has been retracted and you're on the way through the Earth atmosphere, then this is a good marking to use. So this is -34 and this is retrograde, and you can see that here as well. So yeah, any questions regarding this part? I also want to talk a little bit about kind of the night side of the scope operation and some pointers and tips on that as well. Okay, I'm just going through the chat here. I want to ride a spaceship too, but it's too difficult. Yeah, definitely. It is kind of difficult. Mercury is quite fast to operate, and these are manual modes of controlling the spacecraft. So manual and visual things in space are always hard. So this is why it's very important to always use ground track. And the next thing that I just want to mention is that now, for example, I'm over ocean. And I'm going to be going over ocean for a long time. And then I'm going to go over ocean on the night side of Earth as well. So then suddenly, how do we get and maneuver the craft? Well, on land, you have a lot of landmarks that you can use to trace these lines. But over ocean, you don't have that. However, you have cloud formations. So if we timescale a little bit, you can see that there's this clouds moving across the periscope, and those can be used to figure out how your attitude is relative to your velocity. So if the pattern on the ground, or if ground moves from the bottom to the top and it goes in a straight line, you know that your attitude is kind of in line with the direction of your velocity, which is then something that you can use to figure out if you're going prograde or retrograde. In addition, if we now go into the night side of Earth, then suddenly you see that everything is getting very shiny. The lights are taking most of the night sight on board, and you are also not able to kind of see any details here because you know, your eyes are accumulating to the lights on board. So you can do a couple of things. You can switch into the red light, and this is pretty good to kind of gain that night sight and not destroy the night sight. You can see better. And if you also go into the panel here, and you can turn off one of the lights if you want, that might help. But if you're going to be navigating using this scope, I highly recommend you to just turn off the cabin lights and turn off everything, because using the scope now will allow us to see much better through it. So if I, for example, now go over to the Earth view, and let's go over Australia. So we have something down there. Then you can see through that scope in here that we have various lights going by. And then we can use that to figure out our drift and our direction on Earth. So if we, for example, now change our light, you can see the direction. And let's do some twilight, for example, and go 180, 140, for example. No, not that. This is just me brute forcing something. Then you can see that you have some more visibility on board, but now we have also sunlight coming in through the craft. So let's close that out. And now, since we've closed the windows, we suddenly have much better visibility on the scope. So remember to use these splines on the window if the sunlight is causing issues on board, or the ambient light is causing issues on board. So let's get on the light again. Let's do one normal. There we go. Then I'll just leave it like that initially. Hats off to early pioneers of space exploration, and of course you, Petri, for bringing the simulator to the community. Best regards. Thank you, Palle Jensen. Thanks everyone for joining in on this ad hoc stream. It's just some of those streams that you put up to answer a couple of questions and some discussions that's been going on, and then I can use some of these things to create more content. So I'll put this together into this shorter format, remove the on-screen chat, and make this into a full lesson that I'll just publish on YouTube here. Yeah, watching space documentaries after playing Re-Entry, you get a different perspective. It's a lot of fun to see these documentaries now that you, for example, know a lot of the mechanics of a spacecraft, how they work, and how to operate them. Especially when there's a documentary about, for example, the Mercury program, or you see a movie about it, then suddenly it becomes a lot of fun. And the same applies to Gemini and Apollo, if you try that in Re-Entry so far as well. Anyway, happy with the 1.0, can't wait for 2.0. Yes, Arnold, thank you very much. I'm very happy with it too. It's been overwhelming the last few days. I've been feeling joy and happiness and anxiety and depression and fear and excitement all at the same time. It's been quite tough in a way, but also a lot of fun. If you go to space, will you see aliens? No, you will definitely not see aliens in this game. At least those that I know of, but who knows? Thank you. You're handsome. Congrats on 1.0. I just did my first ever rendezvous and docking with the Gene a few days ago in free play. Yeah, congratulations. That's a big step. It's that's a hard one to solve. The thing with Gemini is that the craft is suddenly quite a lot harder to operate, and then suddenly it becomes you have a computer that you need to care about and learn, but then you have a rendezvous and final approach and docking maneuvers, which is also quite advanced to perform. But then suddenly, when you do it once, then suddenly it becomes a lot easier. You just automatically take like a step up the ladder, and it becomes something that your brain kind of knows. And then you can just train a few more times, and it becomes very easy. So this is kind of what the campaign is trying to do. It tries you to do rendezvous, and then it tries you to dock, and again, and then again, just to be prepared for Apollo. Because once you reach Apollo, you're going to be for rendezvous and docking when you're flying up from the lunar module. From the lunar surface, I mean, with the lunar module back to the command module, and that's a quite advanced procedure with some maneuvering. And if you've done Gemini, you will be familiar with that. And then secondly, when you're going to extract the Luna module from the stage 4B in Apollo, you'll also perform a turnaround maneuver and then dock to extract the Luna module from the launch vehicle. And all your training in Gemini will help you prepare for this. So it's very very easy to skip Gemini and then suddenly you're in Apollo and then you basically end up giving up. So just do Gemini and learn that docking procedure, and it will become much easier in Apollo. Apollo, you already have 200 additional systems that you need to care about, and then you need to learn what you could have learned in Gemini as well. So that's my recommendation, but everyone is free to do as you want, and obviously if you know it from before, then the same principles applies. This is orbital mechanics, and I use orbital mechanics in this game for all it's worth to perform these maneuvers. So every translation thrust that you do on the joystick in Gemini and Apollo, it will affect trajectory in almost every area of the game. So yeah, anyways, we can perform some Ask Me Anything. So we can just to keep the discussion going. I have a little bit more time, so that would be it's nice to spend it with you folks. What it took in learning flying them through re-entry game and continues to give me goosebumps. Talking with Regina was surreal. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling when you get up there and then you're suddenly translating and formation flying, and you can see it after a lot of hard work to get there. It's a very rewarding experience, I think. Oh yeah, Sinhag. Yes, we weren't supposed to stream the shuttle yet. I'm sorry. I'm streaming it on the screen here and in the background. Will it be possible to state save? I do have support for state saves in the game, and you can use them to save your progress. I've been working a little bit on them today to improve a couple of issues of it. But the intent is that the save states are going to be improved more and more. And now towards version 1.0, I'm going to have a lot of focus on save states and stability and issues and reported issues from this 1.0 launch. So the most important thing now is to just figure out some of these things and make the 1.0 scope, which we've been talking quite about, as stable as I possibly can make it. Yeah, Andrew, it's maybe it was a teaser then. Someone saw the space shuttle, let's go. But yeah, it is a picture, sort of low resolution picture from in-game. I just had to take something. I was thinking, okay, how can I put the chat a little bit more on the screen? I think that maybe the chat is a little bit small on the screen there, but that's okay. I'll just have to iterate and make things better. But I was thinking it would be fun to bring up the chat. Makes everything a little bit easier for everyone who is watching Ask Me Anything, because then you can see the chat on the screen directly. Do you have a degree in aerospace engineering or similar? It's extremely impressive knowledge you have. I wish I was this smart. Oh, I'm not smart. I have no degree, and initially I was writing all of the astrodynamics myself, and I was using this book. Let me just fetch it. Like something like this. This is what I started reading initially, and then obviously you have other simulation things, thermodynamics, I have some calculus back there. There's a lot of math involved in this project, but luckily when I started working on Apollo, then I was chatting with a guy in Canada, Peter Musgrave, who has been writing something called the Gravity Engine, and I integrated my own engine, Lyra engine, with his, and I kind of tried to fuse them together. And I worked with this guy for, I don't know, we chatted back and forth on email for years. I had a couple of live meetings and so on to kind of try and shape everything and make sure that things runs as they need to. I appreciate the custom photos you can put in the capsules. Gives a funny atmosphere when using meme pics. Yeah, you can use them to tailor it into basically anything you want. So you can have a picture of your cat, your kids, your family, your friends, memes, funny pictures, anything, and it changes the mood in the capsule, but or in the spacecraft. But I always thought that it's fun to allow you to have a little bit of like customization. It's your spacecraft running on your computer, so you're gonna make it as homey as you can. If you're doing long missions, you might even need to sleep in there. Of course, with time scale, but change camouflage and orbit name. Orbit name is something that I plan to do when it comes to decals and exterior texture. Then probably it's just going to be the normal space shuttle version. I do have support. It's just a texture, so I can kind of make those more specific coloring. For example, the first space shuttle we had Columbia had this different looking logos and stuff. So that's all possible. I have permission to use all of the logos and real things for this product. So stuff like that would be fun to do. But yeah. Fire idea for chat setup. Thank you. It was the last minute. I was thinking, okay, I'm about to go live. I just pulled in a random screenshot from the test pilot channel and put it up there. Yes, it's an incredibly thick book. That is true. I have a couple of other ones that I used before getting this one, I think. But it was years ago, and I used them. I still use it quite a lot for reference, especially for the space shuttle now. But when it comes to Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo, then I think that in terms of orbital mechanics and maneuvering, the game has support to do absolutely everything. And I'm using Gravity Engine to perform all of those operations now, which makes things really cool. Then I have astrodynamics in the game written by someone who really knows it. Lyra. I'm probably the one who's pronouncing it wrong. How do you? Lyra. How often do checklists update in game? What do you mean by that? You mean me correcting stuff? I think that almost every patch has checklist updates in the game. So I correct typos, mission typos, and checklist issues in almost every single patch. Do you plan to add the shuttle payload hardware such as IUS, AC, and the sunshade spin tables? Anything is possible. Once I get a decent implementation of the space shuttle and the payload bay and the grappling, the hooks, the various devices, then that's fully possible. But first, I just need to get this basic implementation of everything and get a good foundation. And once we have that and it's stable and you can perform burns and you can do ohms burns and maneuver and I get somehow correct behavior of the most of the important systems, then we can kind of look into, okay, what can we do with this? Should we build the ISS? Should we bring up payloads as missions? What do we do? So that's something that we can discuss once we're getting closer to the actual bits that we can release. Let's get a functional, but it's always good to discuss ideas and dream a little bit, and then we can see what we can do with it. I'm taking notes of everything and all the suggestions, so let's just capture everything. The checklist JSON updated in the file system, how long before the game reloads it? I think it reloads it every time you open up a new mission. In terms of if it's a new checklist, but if it's an updated one, it will reload every time you open up the checklist in the game. So when you're pressing the button that opens a checklist, then it opens up and loads it from the file every time. So that's why you can do edit checklists, and you can edit things, and then you can just reopen the checklist in the same session, and then you can see how the changes looks. Hypergate, yeah. There's I've seen some people have been using the TC50, the audio player on board. There's this cassette thing. Let me bring it up here on the. We can switch quickly to it. I think that we have one here. Let's also open up the windows. Let the sun shine in once it raises, and we can open the toggle jukebox. So this is the thing. So if you want, you can, it actually works. So you can select tracks and you can switch. The transition of energy is all the music that is kind of high paced. You hear them during launch, entry, more of those high paced things. And then you have the more relaxing orbital music here. And then you have a custom mixtape that allows you to have custom folders, and you can browse between the folders that you have and load in your own music. And if you want to turn off the UI, you can do so here. And let's also close this. Thing first, like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on some a change now that makes it not go through everything. And you can reset it or respawn it basically. Preserve the ISS for historical purposes. Yes, definitely. That would be fun. Will the space shuttle have manual landing? Yes, it will. And I'm working on. I've set up most of the logic to allow us to have full control of roll, and then the rest just works. And then eventually I'm going to add that automatic guidance that can just control roll, and then everything else kind of follows. But I'll need to get that maneuvering stable before I can then create automatic guidance. But then the landing itself is going to be manual. Yeah, there's some Korean here. I don't think I can try to translate it. Extinguishers out to blankets. This is so amazing. Thank you. Yeah. Then I could have a live chat inside of the checklists. Yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, Scandinavian death metal during orbital operations. That's possible. Yeah, the space shuttle is from a procedural perspective. There's a lot of stuff to do. So the insertion checks to prepare the orbiter for that's quite a lot, and then to prepare for entry and landing is kind of the same but in reverse. So, but you'll get familiar with it, and it's fun to see the inside of the shuttle. It's a nice place to perform work, even though it's a virtual world. But I do have, I was showing this to the test pilots, but I do have the ISS and will be possible to rendezvous and dock with it. And on my bits, I've made it possible so you can, if you're docked, you can go inside the ISS and you can fly through the various uh, compartments and modules, and then you can reach the cupola, and then you can watch down on Earth, and you can see the tail of the space shuttle that you flew up there, and it's a nice sight. Yeah, it takes time to get into this if you're out of the loop. So if you haven't been playing Reentry for a while, then there's a little step to take, but there's quite a lot of new things too, so it's well worth it. Yeah, so any other questions? Anything you want to go through now that we're live? Hello, Chris. Nice to see you. Uh, there's no interior on Skylabs. The Skylab is just a docking target, so you can dock with it, and you can dock with both of the available docking ports, but you cannot go inside it. It would be fun to be able to go inside it. That's something that might be something we'll add down the line. We'll see. And then the other thing with Apollo is that Apollo has a lot in it. It has Earth and the Moon and the two spacecraft, and they're all quite detailed. So rendering all of this stuff and then having the interior of the Skylab in addition will probably require the computer to work quite hard to render everything. Hey, thank you, JK. That's great to hear. Welcome back to Reentry. Soyuz is, it would be nice. I've been working on Vostok. That's the first Soviet craft to be added. If we can land the licensing. So we're trying to figure out what are the licensing and IP and the right holders and all of those things. Roscosmos, Energia, we have some discussions going, and one of the community members are also asking around and helping me with that. But basically, Vostok and the Soviet things is on hold because of this licensing and IP discussion. And that applies also to the Mir space station as well. Just gonna check where we are in orbit. We are retrograding. And this optic here can also be used to track things on ground and measure your horizon. Just wanted to quickly show you that this device exists now that we talked about everything optics, with the exception of that particular one. So yeah, I think that that's it. I just wanted to kind of answer some questions about the optics and navigation this evening. And there goes the retro engines. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. If there's any final questions, be sure to ask them, and I'll answer as best as I can while I'm closing down these other things. All right. Thanks everyone for joining me in this ad hoc session. I'll follow up with a more dedicated video and about the scope, the periscope. Well, I'll go through some of the same things, but then I'll compress it into this 5-minute video that you can enjoy. But yeah, thanks everyone for being part of the stream and for being part of the 1.0 launch, the Reentry Con 1.0 online release party. It's been great to celebrate all of this with you. So yeah, I'll see you around in the community and Discord, Steam forums, wherever you are, on YouTube, so on. So take care. Bye everyone.